This is the hardware and tools you will need. First, remove the filler screws. Put the lock washer on the cap head screw, then drop the screw into the block. Repeat for the bottom screw. Make sure you place the rudder block so that the rudder stop is at the top. Use the hex key to tighten the both screws. Put the rudder into the rest position. Put the pin into the hole at the top of the block. Drop the rudder into place. Insert the split ring into the hole at the bottom of the rudder pin. If your kayak does not have a deck fitting to tie into, it may need to add one. Gather the J-hook, short bungee, L-shaped deck fitting, one 7/8 inch flathead screw, one rubber coated washer, and one cap nut. Locate the recess at the right of the rudder groove on the deck. Drill the center mark of the recess with a 5/32 bit. Tie an overhand knot in one end of the bungee. Feed the end of the bungee through the hole in the thin part of the L-shaped deck fitting. Attach the deck fitting with the screw. Place the rubber-coated washer on the inside of the kayak. Add the cap nut. Tighten with a 3/8 inch wrench. Slide the bungee through the hole in the J-hook. Place the hook on the rudder. Stretch the bungee to the desired tension. Tie an overhand knot. Cut the excess bungee. Locate the recess on the right side of the kayak. There will be a mark or recess in the middle to indicate the hole location. Using a 5/32 inch bit, drill the center of the mark. Repeat for all of the recesses. The number will vary by model. Gather one deck fitting, one 7/8 inch flathead screw, one rubber coated washer, and one cap nut for each recess you have drilled. Place the screw through the deck fitting and screw into the hole. Place a rubber-coated washer on the screw inside the boat with the rubber portion touching the boat. Add a cap nut and use a 3/8 inch wrench to tighten the screw. Make sure openings on the deck fitting are parallel to the waterline of the boat. Loosen the front deck fitting. Make a U shape with the rudder control bungee. Place the bungee behind the deck fitting so it wraps around. Tighten the deck fitting. Make sure the rudder control moves freely. Feed the lift line from the left side of the rudder through the top of the deck fitting. Feed the lift line from the right side of the rudder through the bottom of the deck fitting. Repeat for all deck fittings. Feed the lift line through the rudder controls. With the rudder in the resting position, place the top rudder control 3.5 inches from the deck fitting. Tie an overhand knot to keep this fitting in place. Pull the bottom control to the rear to create tension in the system. Tie an overhand knot in the bottom line. Test the rudder function. If the system is too loose, tighten by moving the knots to the rear of the boat and retest. Locate and remove the screws that secure the middle and rear foot braces. Remove the original foot braces. Insert the screws back into the holes. Add the rubber washer on the inside of the boat. Add a P-clip to the rear mounting screw of the front foot braces. Add a P-clip to the front mounting screw of the rear foot braces. Insert the new foot brace. Line up the screw holes. Make sure the loop of the P-clips are on top of the foot brace. Partially tighten each screw. Once both screws are started, you can tighten the foot brace fully. Make sure the rudder cables are not trapped between the boat and the foot brace when tight. Cut any excess poly tube so that it is even with the rear of the cockpit. Cut 68 inches of cable from the rear set of foot braces. Insert the cable into the poly tube from the back of the boat. Feed the cable to the front of the boat. Place the cable in the middle slot and slide to keep in place. Run the cable from the center foot brace through the P-clips to the rear of the boat. Pull the remaining cable from the rear foot brace to the rear of the boat. Insert the cable from the center foot brace into the top hole of the cord lock. Insert the cable from the rear foot brace into the bottom hole of the cord lock. Insert the cut portion of the cable through the top hole of the cord lock from the opposite direction. Make a U and insert the cable through the bottom hole of the cord lock toward the rear of the boat. Tie the 3 cable ends together in an overhand knot. Clip the excess from the cables. Pull the slack forward from the rear of the boat. It is important to make sure the stern end of the cable remains locked into the rudder. Pull the rudder rope through the top of the foot brace. Hold the foot brace at a 90-degree angle. Pull the cable down the back of the foot brace. Pull the slack from the free end of the cable at the rear of the foot brace rail. Pull the gray knob towards the center of the boat and rotate a quarter turn to lock it into place. Repeat for all foot braces. You can adjust the responsiveness of the rudder by moving the cable position on the rudder wing. Move the cable to the outer slot to make the rudder more responsive. Move the cable to the inner slot to make the rudder less responsive.